I don't know about you lot. I don't know about you lot, but me personally, I for one am extremely glad and grateful that the MMA hour, the mixed martial arts hour, is back in our lives. And I'm even more grateful about the fact that we have this new unfiltered raw version of Ariel Helwani hosting the show, or should I say Ariel Helwani, as he now likes to refer to himself as, but I'm going to touch on that a little bit later on. Anyway, I spent about an hour yesterday evening, listening to yesterday's show, and then I listened to the rest of it this morning. And there's a couple of things that I really want to talk about. I'm going to put them in separate videos just for the simple fact that they're two separate subjects. One's a reconciliation and one is a declaration of war. Well, not quite, but basically Ariel Helwani was speaking about Brendan Schaub on a couple of occasions during yesterday's show, and that's a person and a subject that I like to talk about as well. And myself and Ariel Helwani have a bit of synergy there because we agree on a couple of things when it comes to Brendan Schaub, so I'm going to make a separate video about that. But the thing that I wanted to talk about here is Ariel Helwani and the perceived beef he had or had with Luke Thomas. Now, look, I've said this on a number of occasions, like that topic is what's got me the most subscribers on YouTube. But there's been opportunities where I could have made videos in the thirst for views and the thirst for subscribers, but I didn't, because I just felt as though I only really wanted to talk on the subject if I felt there was something worth talking about. I didn't want to make videos for the sake of making videos. And I'm quite glad that I'm sat here making this video, because according to Ariel Helwani yesterday, he had some, I think he said he had a couple of lengthy conversations with Luke Thomas, and they've resolved issues that they had and they've settled the differences. And I think he even said that they went for dinner. It probably was in a bigger group, not just the two of them, just the two of us. But the fact of the matter is, it feels as though they've resolved their issues, so there will be no more Luke Thomas and Ariel Helwani beef videos coming from me. And if I'm completely honest with you guys, I'm glad that this is now the case, and I'll tell you why. My favorite ever show when it comes to people covering the sport of mixed martial arts has always been MMA Hour. And I love the dynamic between Ariel Helwani hosting the show, Luke Thomas, the man in the hat, Chuck Mindenhall, and then was it Mark Wagenheim, the man in the shirt? I forget his name because he's kind of disappeared a little bit from the MMA kind of media world, or maybe I just don't see his stuff as much. But I love the dynamic between the four of them, and I always in my head just assume that they're friends. They're all friends with each other, and then when it kind of transpired that there was this rift between Luke Thomas and Ariel Helwani, who, let's face it, were the two most prominent members of the panel, even though Chuck Mindenhall's always been my favourite MMA journalist, but that's by the by. It was a bit of a news story, and what I can equate it to is like when I was younger and I followed wrestling like a proper geek, like I proper followed professional wrestling, I got to a stage where I was more interested in stories of riffs back behind the scenes than the actual storylines in the ring. Do you know what I mean? And that's when I realised, actually, I don't like this sport anymore. I don't know, well, it's not really a sport, but I don't like this art form anymore, because I'm actually more interested in hearing about men gossiping about each other, about beefs that they've got with each other, and just what they call in that world shoot interviews. But that doesn't mean to say, like, personally, I feel as though why, and it's not just me, because it's my most viewed videos, right? So there's a whole niche, or there's a whole, not even a niche, I'd say the majority of fans that follow the sport have followed the sport via the internet, because that is where covering the sport was birthed, right? Because no mainstream media outlets would cover mixed martial arts. So all of our prominent journalists, reporters, whatever you want to call them, their presence is mostly online, and that's where we've got to know them and their personalities. So when they kind of fall out with each other, it's the internet generation, I believe. So anyway, like, I feel like we've got a bigger connection to reporters in this sport than we have with reporters in other sports. And the only example I can think of is football or soccer if you're American, because you know, I follow Arsenal, and there's a couple of journalists that focus on Arsenal, but I don't listen to podcasts that they do largely. There's only one that I can think of that I listen to. I don't really know much about them from a personal standpoint. Do you know what I mean? Tasting music, etc., etc., the same way I do with Luke Thomas and Ariel Helwani, etc. So I feel like there's a bigger connection for us as fans to the reporters and journalists in the sport, in this particular sport, than there is in other sports. So when they fall out, it causes a bigger ripple amongst us as a fan base. And that's just a theory. I might be completely off, I might be completely wrong, I don't know. But that's now that I've sat back and thought about, why do I care about these two men having a professional misunderstanding or a fallout? Like, why does it have such an impact on me? Why do I need to get to the bottom of this as a fan? Why has it happened, etc., etc.? And that's the analysis of the whole situation that I've come up with. And like I say, I might be wrong. Now obviously Luke Thomas is probably going to do his you know, someone actually told me in a previous video what this show is called that he does on a weekly basis, that I watch on a weekly basis. But Luke Thomas does a solo show where he answers questions from the fans, and I'm pretty sure someone's going to ask him about Ariel Helwani and about this reconciliation, etc. And I hope he just backs up what Helwani said and says, yeah, we've settled our differences, there was a misunderstanding, and they can move on. Because ideally for me, in the long term, what I'd like to see is them two back working together, because I felt like that they made a really good on-screen team, with being flanked by Chuck and Mark Wagenheim. I feel like I'm saying his name wrong. I feel like it might be Jeff Wagenheim. I'm sorry, man. I think I've just got this guy's name totally wrong, although I can proper see his face and the shirts that he used to wear in my mind's eye. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to share. I'm going to make a separate video about Brendan Schaub spreading lies about Ariel Helwani, and Ariel Helwani having to set him straight, and Ariel Helwani being the what did he call himself, the CEO of PF Chang's. I found that funny. But I'm going to talk about that separately, because I'm now driving to a customer site, so I need to get my game face on, you know, and I need to stop talking about MMA beefs that are inconsequential to the rest of human civilization. But look at my belly just poking out. I need to do something about that. But anyway, I will catch you guys next time. Please feel free to leave comments, likes, shares, all of that good stuff. And please subscribe, man. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers ASAP, Ferg. But anyway, until next time, keep it classy.